Good morning to everybody. The day is July the 24th of 2014. The day I want to talk about is forgiving. Forgiving for all the things that people do to people and how they do it and how things come out of it, what you do to people. Today is what I want to talk about is that things that had come along with me. From things that people done way back to you from when you was a child. And like people say, all things that people do to people, it will come back to them some kind of way. It will come back to them. It may not be right then. It may be years later, or decades before it come out. But it really will come out some kind of way. What I want to say is that things that came on in my life that people have said about me and how they lie and how it goes on from one hand to another. How it falls on your children, the things that you do. Like people say, it may not fall on you, but it'll fall on someone in your generation. And people try to figure out where these things come from and how the children will come to be like they are. Because sometimes people put things on a child from what their parents done, or sometimes it be for the things that people had done to them back when they was a child, their parents. I just want to say that people mind what they say and what they do. How jealousy take control of people and make them say things that they should not say, and it pass on to a child. I heard many people say to my children when they were small, "Oh, y'all don't go to church. Y'all don't know church song. Y'all don't know how to sing new song. But that y'all ain't never went to church." I used to tell them, you never went to church as that they seen you went to church, but you surely have went to church. And to know that when you did went to church, you learned about God, not about other people in church. And to learn that when you do go to church, you learn to learn about God, not about watching people, what they do and what they say and how they look. But when they did with the church, people say, stand up and say, people say these children didn't went to church, but they do know God. They did come dressed up, and they do come praising God. They may not understand what they say, but they knew they had been in church. Some people children went to church and they knew that those was church people, but they did not made their children mad in church. They didn't act like they knew what church was for. But that's how criticize go around. I could say lots of things about what take place. People say my children can't read from other children. I listen at them. I never asked them who told them that. But they just pick up what they hear other people say. Then they go and get books and stuff, and they get to their children to read and look back at you like you can't read. My children know how to read. And they know how to write. They may not be perfect, and no child be perfect. But just like they say, no child left behind. Teach every child what you teach every other child to learn. Some children may not learn everything, but they can learn some things. But when you don't teach a child at all, and you see children today, they know so much. People have a way of going back checking and seeing how do those children knew and they was in the same class your child, but your child don't know these things. It's so many things that people have to cover up for going on today for what was way back. That's why they say no child left behind. Teach children because it will fall back on you in another way. It just take one lie from another lie. And these are the things that we have to cover up while we see children and people not working today. Because people try to cover up one lie from another lie. Teach children. Because if you teach one, you know all will learn. They don't have to be crazy or disability to get a check. Sometimes a child get a check for certain things. I got a check, but it was not for my child being crazy or anything. It was because that he was slow learner. And when I tried to go and get help, I couldn't get help because I had worked it. And everything was based it on if you worked, you couldn't get these helps that they needed. So when I decided to quit, it was for those reasons on my job. Even confidential things. But that my child had to get a check order for to get help, what they call CMA or whatever. I didn't know about those things. But it was because that he was slow learning. You couldn't get none of those things unless he was getting some kind of firm or something. But when I did get it, that's made things a little better where he could get help. Even he was 3 grades behind. Where he was just being there in school but no help. So that's made it be a lots of chaosity behind that. People don't look at a child. They just look at a check. And not look at that child could be working or that person could be working, but it be what people put them in and what people say and what they do. So I say to myself, we all get along and learn to be adult if we are. Children stay in children's place. Grown people stay in grown people's place. We teach our children and tell them why we're living, what's going on. And tell them the truth and not lies. I say that to me, that the world is so out of wrap. People are not working. You see people just in a store or business and 2 people in there. Because that people have messed people up of jealousy and frustration. Don't listen at what people say. Listen at it from the person that you see the problem that you have. Come to them and defend them with it. Not go around from door to door, listen at other people. What they say. We are surely being cursed from all the things that we did and say bad and negative things against people that put them where they at today. I say that if I could change the world from where it was when I was coming up from now, I could do it, I would do it if I had that power. I say that I hope that we all come together and learn to not say bad things about people unless we know about them. Don't turn children against children because that's what we are living in today. Children know each other and we are getting the answer for children. They are not like that. It's what people say and done to them to make them like that, to make people hate them. They say bad things and done bad things to them. Learn that when we are sending our children to school, to meet the people, not the school. Because that you can have some people for you and some people against you. We all have a good day. Thank God for each and every day of our life.